A new study of the 50 states places Oklahoma 31st on the Assets and Opportunity Scorecard. A study that, instead of reporting on the state's economy, focuses on family finances. Those who have reviewed the study see education as the key to improving opportunities for Oklahomans.
The study by the Corporation for Enterprise Development found most American families have recovered from the Great Recession to the point that fear of losing a home or job is mostly gone. But it also concludes that many Americans' personal financial safety net remains unchanged, meaning they fall into a category the study calls liquid asset poor. For Oklahoma, the findings show 49% of households fall into that category. 63% of families have bad credit ratings, and 32% are working in low-wage jobs. And those are just the headlines. Kate Ritchie is a policy analyst at the Oklahoma Policy Institute. For her, the study reveals problems that Oklahoma families have long struggled with, being one paycheck away from bankruptcy and or homelessness.
I think that statistic in particular is stunning, and it's a trend all over the nation. It's particularly bad in Oklahoma, and it's gotten much worse since even last year. People are increasingly financially unstable.
Ritchie says another troubling component of the findings is the number of Oklahomans who are paying very high mortgage interest rates and have bad credit.
Whatever it is that you're doing to get ahead, to work, to provide for your family, frequently requires access to credit, and if there's any bump along the way, it can ruin your credit and either cut you off from access to credit or send you to the subprime credit market and to predatory lenders and very, very high interest lenders, which we also have a lot of in Oklahoma.
The state's health ranking was 42nd overall, and the uninsured rate put the state 45th. Ritchie says the importance of health insurance and access to health care plays a critical role in family finances.
The health aspect of it is, it's devastating for people's quality of life, but you add on to that the financial asset implications of what it means to be uninsured, and it's really cruel. And a lot of people are experiencing it.
There are divergent views on how to improve the financial status of Oklahoma families, but most agree going back to school is a good first step. In education, the state's overall rank was 40th, but it was also the only area where Oklahoma led the entire nation in at least one category. State Representative Mike Brown.
But if you want to be proud about something, that is one thing that we are number one in, besides incarcerating women throughout the world. We're number one in early childhood education.
After that, the state's educational success goes the other direction.
However, we dropped down the ranking quite quickly when we got to third grade testing, eighth grade testing, and then our educational attainment as we got into higher ed.
Deidre Myers is Deputy Director of the Oklahoma Department of Commerce and an expert on Oklahoma's workforce. Myers says the report shows how the state begins with a competitive edge in education, but then lets it slip away.
When I look at the report, it says to me overwhelmingly that education is the foundation upon which an Oklahoman may build success. And it's not just a degree, it's a matter of having thinking skills, being able to transfer knowledge.
Representative Brown says the study reveals that edge erodes even more the further you go into the education findings.
And Oklahomans need to have this conversation with their legislator, is that we're 43rd in the nation on graduating our kids out of college out of a 4-year degree. Not much better whenever it comes to a 2-year degree.
The state was also 48th in the nation for defaulting on education debt. Senator John Ford did find some bright spots in the education findings.
We're 9th best in the nation on our college graduates without debt. Now that speaks well, I think, to the geographic distribution of our community colleges, our regional colleges, our 2 research universities. We're close to people where they live. A lot of them can stay home.
But for education to translate into high-paying jobs, Senator Ford says students need to know what jobs employers are most eager to fill.
The Commerce Department has identified critical industry certifications that are needed, and you can get a job immediately, and it's a high-paying job. In a local career tech, staying at home, you can get one of these certificates for about $3,000 to $4,000 total cost.
And once you have the education that makes your skills marketable, Myers says anyone can find financial success in Oklahoma.
When we look at this report, every single indicator in terms of race, ethnicity, or gender, Oklahoma performed better than the nation. And if you have a market-demanded skill, regardless of your age, your gender, your race, your ethnicity, you can do well in Oklahoma.
For Representative Brown, the study shows that state government could do more to help people achieve success. Oklahoma ranked 13th in micro-enterprise businesses, 18th in small businesses, without much support from the state.
A lot of mom and pop shops that employ a large portion of Oklahomans, a large portion of Oklahomans, 5 employees or less, and they're doing really good in Oklahoma, but yet we don't do anything to help those folks out. And we take hundreds of millions of dollars in tax credits and shell it out to a handful of corporate entities up here for corporate welfare.
We asked everyone we talked to for this report what was the one thing Oklahoma could do better to help people improve their financial situation. OPI's Kate Ritchie.
I also think we need better regulations on predatory lenders. We could do a lot more to keep the costs of higher education, or not just college, but any post-high school secondary education, to keep those costs low so that everybody has access to them.
Representative Mike Brown.
Well, the number one thing in my district is the creation of good paying jobs. That's the number one thing.
Senator John Ford.
So what we need to do for all of our families and all of our students is we've got to give them the ability to be smart on where they get their post-secondary education.
The Commerce Department's Deidre Myers.
I think the answer here in most of the solutions that we have is for business to become much more of a partner with their local school district, with their local community clubs and youth groups, to educate families on the kind of jobs that are available and what children need to do and learn to have those jobs in their communities.
The full report from the Corporation for Enterprise Development can be found at their website, www.cfed.org.